Hey, muy buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, I want to start off by thanking everybody for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, and the love and time you guys give me. Thank you. Now, to get into the story on hand, today I want to take you back a little bit, right? I want to take you back to 2004. I was already on BR, validated, and I already had my celly. For those that have at one point had a celly that was a Pili, I gotta say, my celly is an old timer from Kikobras, but he was Firmes, right? I don't say that to minimize things later on, right? It's just to shed light on how stupid I was, right? And to shed light on what a lot of people question, right? That my loyalty was twisted. Not a lot of people can say they did the ultimate sacrifices for the cause, right? But it's not important. It don't matter, right? Anyways, I want to take you to a big issue, right? That happened. Perico from Primera Flats. He was actually there, in the shoe, and is when MS was trying to bounce back up from well, I'll just say that little incident, right, that happened on the news for those that don't know, that got him that green light and bandits per se from becoming members, right? But maybe a couple years back before this incident, right? Perico is so veterano, right? When it came towards the organization, he was in Lake County with Mosca. Now, I don't want to just pinpoint on the incident. I want you guys to see the difference from Pili to Pili, right? There is those that, at the end of the day, they have to fall in line with the movidas, right? And they're just tecato movidas, even if they're not, which Perico was, right? I'm just saying he was smarter. I'll give you that example, right? When he was in LA County with Mosca, it was well known that they were uh, they were moving to bless someone from MS and basically break that cycle, right? Or that one factor that had one been put out about MS, which was they were never going to get that high, right? And it all stemmed from Comandari, but that's out there too much. I'm not even gonna go in on him, right? You guys know what ended up happening, and when everything hit the fan, it's Perico was already in Corcoran, right? And Mosca is when he took full charge of LA County, right, for a while. We started politicking. Well, you guys know that story too, but mainly I want to touch on Flaco and Travieso. I've spoken about them, but before I got validated, they were really high recommended as good camaradas, which in all sincerity, they had good head on their shoulders, right? They were on A-yard. So basically to support, right? When it came to the buildings they were in as bloqueros. So, they were put in that spot for a minute and they reported well. They kept informed. Hella good program for the camaradas. Not strict, not loose, just they did things correctly, right? And the thing is, again, they were being brought in by not Mosca, it was Perico. Perico seen that interest in them, right? Which in reality they have a lot of wiggle, right? There's a lot of camaradas just in Cali if you analyze, which is Frisco, San Rafael, Oak, Oakland, San Francisco. They have their reach just Cali, so it's beneficial. And Perico seen that. So he was pulling to put camaradas from MS in positions, right? To open that door, at least to get closer to other Pilis. And Mosca just did it while he was sharing LA County, right, with Perico. He played along and it was benefiting him, and so he was all for Comandari to become a member up into the point where he got caught and was not 20 U's no more for Mosca, right? Then everyone knows, that little issue that should have not been an issue, put a stop to it. Basically Comandari speaking up for one of his homeboys and turned it to a green light, and Mosca pushed for the green light to be sanctioned in the CDC, but it never happened, right? It got shut down. It was just LA County. Or last I remember it was Frisco too, right? But I know for a fact it was LA County. And again, he wanted benefits. See, Mosca was the type of pili. He was dirty. He really seen neighborhoods of camaradas, period, point blank, as a mean to make feria. And not just in the sense that I'm not speaking about like, little by little taking it. Mosca was the type that he'll jump from area to the area, not caring, do some dirty stuff, clip that neighborhood, and then jump out. He maintained solid in the Valle, right? San Fernando. But other than that, he was all over the place. And it happened by him having LA County, just being sincere, right? Which a lot of camaradas from different pilis came in and he clogged himself to them, of course. He was a pili, so they allowed him in, right? It's part of after all, it's part of our escalera, right? Our ladder. And their say goes. Of course, it wasn't what we see today, right? But nevertheless, Mosca, I would sincerely say, is one of the pioneers when it came to what we've seen today. He was already doing it. But nevertheless, what I want to touch on is, again, it got stopped to the Verde in general, right? And all he wanted was some feria from MS, since basically Cena lost there, right? With the guys that were reaching out to him were already busted. So he clipped him to take that Verde off. And but I wanna touch on that individual was solid and loyal to Perico, and Perico brought him in. Perico spoke. I'm talking about when you're in a cell with a pili, certain things go across your eyes, right? And even though my celly was chill, he didn't like to get involved basically in nothing no more because of his personal dilemmas, right? He allowed the streets to get involved with prison. Nevertheless, they still respect to the point to cross certain topics through the cell, and out of respect, my eyes got to see them. And one of them was Perico. This was a couple years before I got validated. I'm talking about I received Palabra and Perico was co-signing for Flaco, Travieso, and amongst other camaradas from EMEROS, right? He wanted them to get what they had been sitting down for a while, right? And Mosca put the verde on him, and instead of him speaking out for individuals, he knew what time it was. He straight said, Chales. He said, I don't want nothing to do with it. Mosca has LA County. He has a right to greenlight wherever he wants in LA County. So my question is, you see, I believe that genuinely or truthfully, at one point, Perico wanted to do something positive for my man's, right? He seen what's there. You know, Mosca unfortunately seen Perico leave, Homeboy get arrested as amongst others, and then had a headache per se, speaking things on behalf of Perico's name and county. Mosca seen an opportunity to clip the camaradas, right? The green lighting, which he's known for it, for green lighting and right away getting paid and taking them off neighborhoods. It was just, he seen the beneficial in it, like you see nowadays, right? But instead of Perico maintaining true to that, right? It's a perfect point of what I speak on. The Cato's mind, right? Regardless, it has to be there. It don't matter how much they want to do for the camaradas. Perico knew if he went against the green and he wasn't in Corker no more, I mean in LA County, excuse me, there could be some issues for him, especially with the amount of power Mosca was carrying at that time, right? So what he do, he allowed the homies get dragged and taken down for no reason. Their old Mosca had already gotten paid, but he still was pushing for those that held power to some degree to get hit for no reason. It was spoken before that they were never supposed to be that, right? When I personally see that on appeals where they were requesting it personally. But it goes to show how they got the ways that they're out to save themselves, right? And I understand the dog eat dog world and it's how it should be. But tell me who's doing time thinks about themselves besides the vatos that go left, right? And go to that side. They eventually hit a brick wall or either Mando, dirty politicking, or just just on the word of some individual, right, with power, or they're dirty politicking, or just straight out they have it in their blood, right, to go to that side. But for those that maintain loyal, who thinks about themselves, for example, I was in the situations, right, when let's go show some respect to the Pilis in the back, right? Let's uh let's pack up and let's boogie to go back there. You go back there, you pay your respects, but then you come right back out with certain directions. I never thought of myself or questioned when I heard word of mouth, hey, homeboy has to bounce. I got out, homeboy bounced, period. I never thought of what I was going to receive or the tower or even that guy's crew if he was under a different pili that was going to lift up and start blasting me, right? But you see how they work. Perico right away said he's the one that requested to take all the camaradas from a mess off of power and charge them. And Artie didn't hesitate. Artie clipped each individual for going against a ruling that didn't have no meaning at this time no more, right? $500 each, or they were gonna get regulated, southsiding, which to me it was dumb, cause Flaco paid it, but Travieso he went sideways. He was answering to Pelico, supposedly on a personal note. Again, I was holding a yard, and Travieso was one of my bloqueros. He got at me on a personal note and told me, hey, when this incident happened, that has nothing to do with me. I'm in here doing live, right? It happened in LA County with Mosca. Homeboy, the Pili, Perico, he stopped answering me. By the time Perico said, Charles, I'm not getting involved. Do what you gotta do, period. He quit answering camaradas. Of course, things went back to seeing the beneficial in having camaradas from MS, right? To tap in, like, to tax MS, let's just be honest, right? Like, you have Cisco, you got some now in the feds, and, well, you got numerous of MS Pilis now. But it's always been a subi baja, right? For example, let me leave you guys with a little something, right? Well, not something. I want to leave you guys with a question to see who knows and if it's even out there for people to know. I'm not too fan of. You guys know Google and all that. I'm straight on all that. If it don't, it's not on my head, part of personal tip. There's no reason for me to speak on it, right? But can somebody answer me what happened when they pushed Cisco in the shelf for a while? Who received the backlash and what happened? I'll just leave it open like that. I know it's not too long. I don't know if it's out there, so I don't want to speak on it. But you see the difference of feeling. One truthfully had something good for camaradas, and you know how you see how quickly a greedy tecato like Mosca and Artie, to be sincere, Artie play a big factor, right? being in Perico's ear, even though, well, in reality, Perico had more antiquity, but nevertheless, you know, he quickly flip flopped and he fell into that mentality. I mean, not even, hey, camarada, step down before this. Hey, this happened, just go along with it, allow things to cool down so you come back, maintain strong. Now he just cuts him off and basically goes against everything he once spoke. It's that easy. And in my case, I was a coward that I seen, for example, here and in other places, where one year a Pili will put out something, and the next year he will go against exactly his own words against camaradas. And since I was a coward, I never spoke against or even nothing, right? I was just a follower. I was just a soldado. Soldados, what do they say? Como soldadito, right? Face forward, head up, and I'm gonna push forward. But you see, that's where I say, we gotta break that cycle where we're integrated to that point or to the point that it is now, right? Back then you could call that punking, but what do you call it now? Are you really willing to give your whole life? Back then it was for your neighborhood and then you go buck up and earn yours per se. Now, excuse me, now you go in for a lot of different reasons. A lot has to do with pleasing this individual, right? And the way you did things for one pili, the minute you hit yell, you could be done. Cause another pili don't like it. Or even that same pili, right? He might not like you getting arrested. Cause he sees the loss and they don't never lose. So are you willing to sacrifice yourself, your family? Again, don't ever weenie out or go sideways. I know a lot of people see irony in this that I say, but please show me where in the 24 years in the system in the States I ever went sideways. Or here in Mexico, my thing happened out here and believe me, it wasn't my doings. It was that one thing that broke. I'm not even gonna get into it no more, but with this, just, man, enjoy life. Even if you're from a neighborhood, you should have that thought for yourself. One day, I'll be able to, I'm not gonna say put things down, but be able to um be more responsible with doing something for myself, having kids, enjoy them, enjoying mom when she gets old, family. At the end of the day, that's what holds value. Inside, you're just gonna be tiptoeing around the next man because you never know if a Pili or even that man decides to do a power move and he's gonna whack you. So stay true to yourself and loyal to loved ones. Muy buenas noches.